Imagine a backcourt of Jamal Murray and Steve Nash. Wouldn't that be something? You got the all-time assist guy and a guy like Jamal Murray that can knock him down from anywhere on the floor.
Cory Joseph.
The Canadian from Ajax.
Joseph in the corner for the win. Got it! Cory Joseph in the corner for the win!
Hi, I'm Brad Fay. It's another edition of Basketball Central. We've talked best dunkers of all time. We've talked about point guards. How about Canadians? And moving forward in this show, we'll hear from Danielle Michaud and Eric Smith. Rautins and Michael Grange will be along with Alvin Williams. And our first guest is a name familiar to Canadians, a world champion in his own right, Cory Joseph.
Cory, the first question everybody asked when this all began was what you're doing to keep busy, to keep from going crazy. But I think it's shifted now to what are you doing to keep in shape or to keep game ready in the event that the season does resume?
Any in-house workout you could possibly think of, whether that's push-ups, sit-ups. I actually have some, I'm fortunate to have some machines here at my house, which is a treadmill, bike, rowing machine. So I'm doing a lot of that. But just anything I could think of to stay fit and try to stay, my best game shape I could possibly be in.
You guys, 3.5 games back when the stoppage came, and you'd been on a great run after the All-Star break, and even going back further to late January, you'd win 13 of 20. So does that give you more incentive, you and your teammates, to get this season resumed, given you were taking a charge at a playoff spot?
Yeah, we were rolling. We were playing well. We were playing together. We were coming into our own. We were a young team kind of figuring out there for the All-Star break, and then we started rolling. So we definitely felt like we could have competed with anybody. We were right there, and we definitely felt like we had a chance. So
this postponement also affects the Olympics, obviously. Whether or not this season returns, the Olympics are planned to be in 2021. Does this change the direction for Canada at all? Does it help or perhaps hurt you guys as a group when you look at who was available, who was hurt, everything else?
We were all anxious to play together and to, try to, make it to the Olympics. We felt like we had a good shot with everybody that were playing. But it doesn't change the course. We're all going to just stick together. Hopefully we, God willing, we'll all be there next year when it does happen again. And, it doesn't really change. We'll be even more in shape, more better because we're practicing, and we'll just come back and try to make it next year.
Yeah, I want a quick question on that because you would have been 8 or 9 years old when Steve Nash led that team in 2000. So do you remember, was it the NBA dream that came first, or was national team type of stuff on the radar early on for you as well?
Yeah, it was both, both definitely came early, watching Steve Nash, Rick Fox, Ron Baird, all those guys play for the national team. Definitely it became a dream of mine, wanting to make it to the Olympics, and I've been chasing that ever since.
We appreciate you taking the time, Cory. Continue to stay healthy, and let's hope to see you back on the court soon.
No problem, man. My boy Jamal Michaud's over there. I used to cut his grass when I was young. I don't know if you guys knew that.
I won't let you go. You better tell that story. Literally cut his grass.
$50.
We'll talk to him. All the best, Cory.
All right, take it easy.
But Jamal Murray really starting to become a star. The blue arrow. Best ever come out of Kitchener, Ontario.
The guy who wears number 13, Tristan Thompson.
Tristan Thompson is playing his heart out tonight.
Andrew Wiggins.
I think we know he can score.
Incredible athletic ability.
Steve Nash is the godfather of basketball in Canada.
Well, standing on guard for thee, what a different take we have now on picking the best Canadians. Two guys that have been around and documented a long time. One of them, Leo Rautins, a big part of that history. And Michael Grange, will begin with you. A little tougher situation now, trying to pick a starting 5 and then 5 bench players all time than it might have been 10 years ago, Michael.
It is a lot tougher. I don't know if we would have got to a starting 5, at least of NBA players. It starts with Steve Nash, right? One of the great all-time point guards, but just so much depth here. So I suspect that this is going to be a great conversation to have every year for years to come.
Steve Nash, Jamal Murray, Rick Fox, Kelly Olynyk, Tristan Thompson. Talk to me about Kelly Olynyk and why he made your starting 5.
I really like his efficiency. I mean, he's, his career true shooting percentage is up around 59%. He's a 38% three-point shooter for his career, 43 this year. He's having a career year with Miami. So he just gives you that ability to make some plays, stretch the floor, and do it with a little bit of size. And it was a tough call for me between him and Dwight Powell at power forward.
Leo, you're Steve Nash, obviously part of your starting five as well, and he supplanted you as the highest picked Canadian at that point. When did you think that he was going to get to the heights that he got to?
Well, once you started seeing about a third or fourth season, you just started seeing all kinds of things happening for Steve. And you got to remember, I mean, look at the environment he was in. He had players like Jason Kidd, Kevin Johnson, all kinds of guys around him to learn the game from. And Steve's a sponge, so you started to see it then. But imagine a backcourt of Jamal Murray and Steve Nash. Wouldn't that be something? You got that all-time assist guy and a guy like Jamal Murray that can knock him down from anywhere on the floor.
You've got a lot of the same names on there, but going a little more old school with your big man as Bill Wennington joins Nash, Murray, Fox, and Tristan Thompson. What about Big Bill?
Hey, are we talking Last Dance? Come on, Billy Wennington. And you think about his career. I mean, what a career he's had coming out of St. John's, and three-time NBA champion with Michael Jordan. And, part of my basis for my picks, the guys that did contribute on championship teams. I saw, Michael had Rick Fox. He's a champion, NBA champion. When you're playing at that level and contributing on those teams, I think you have to get the nod. And also remember, as far as Billy Wennington goes, that's a true center. That's not just a old school or today's modern day switch around, big, small. He is a legitimate NBA five-man.
And Michael, the fun thing about a list like this, as we take a look at your reserves, that some of the guys on the bench, so to speak, right now, if we do this 3 or 4 years from now, could be listed among the starting five.
That's right. And you got to honor a little bit of history. Like Rick Fox, he's the all-time leading Canadian scorer, I should say, behind Steve Nash, and he's won the 3 rings. So I had him at the small forward. But Andrew Wiggins, we just need to see him in a winning environment. So you suspect he's going to maybe end up the all-time leading scorer in Canadian NBA history. He'll catch Nash eventually. And then the other one, obviously, to me, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's only had 1.5, well, almost 2 years, but every sign he shows is a guy who's going to be an all-star caliber player and maybe even an all-NBA player. So I think that the depth, as we talked about off the top, is there, and really flip this list going forward.
All right, Michael's guys, Leo, are a few that are on the rise. Same with your list as we look at the reserves, but there's one name that stands out. Stuart Granger, the one name on this list that a lot of people may not know, but talking to you, I know outside of perhaps Arvydas Sabonis, this may be your favorite player of all time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he is the best Canadian point guard that nobody knows about. Played with the Canadian national team, played at Villanova. Stuart Granger was a beast. He was quick as a cat. He could play defense, get in your face. I saw him play some incredible games playing for the Canadian national team. And then when you think about his NBA career, yeah, it was limited, but remember, the league was only 23 teams at that time, and how you start off and dictated how you finished. And he started with a bad situation in Cleveland and never got on track. But I know Alvin Williams joins us quite a bit in a lot of this stuff we do. And Alvin Williams will tell you, you may not have heard of him, but Stu was legit.
All right, the National Basketball Association Championship banner flies in Canada, and the country proudly represented across the league.
Another edition of Swishes and Bricks, and a new edition joining the squad. We've got Eric Smith and Alvin Williams this week. And fellas, I'm going to start with 2 potential locations for the NBA to resume, if and only when it is safe to do so, because I found both locations pretty interesting. And E, I'm going to start with you. Is it a small world after all? Can the NBA play in Disney World?
I got to say that I'll give this a swish, because I think they can, because of the fact that there are so many hotels there, Danielle. You've got all those different resorts that families go down to, and then you hop on the monorail, and that actually might be a good thing in terms of getting to and from the games, using the monorail, using the Disney bus system that I think many people watching have probably done with their families and whatnot. Anything that, as you say, could safely bring basketball back, I'm all in for.
I'm going to give it a brick. And I'm going about it a whole different way. I'm tired of kids. I'm tired of kids' beans. When I get out the house, I don't want to see any more fun stuff right now. I don't want to see none of this stuff. I'm tired of it. So if they get back to playing basketball, I want an adult venue, some adult activities. So that's where I'm going. Disney World, get out of here.
So then, Alvin, I'd imagine my other suggestion would be more up your alley, and that being Vegas, because MGM Resorts and Casinos have proposed that they could hold everyone safely, including the NBA players' families, in their resorts and casinos. You down with Vegas then?
Hell yeah, it's a swish.
So episodes 5 and 6, fellas, Last Dance released this week. And for me, the unsung hero is Dolores Jordan, because without dear Dolores, we may never have had the mega brand that is Air Jordan. That was a pretty interesting snippet that was added this week. But Alvin, I'm going to start with you this time, because the swish or brick for me is actually playing basketball in the Jordan 1. That swish or brick on that?
That's a brick. That's a brick. Even though fashionably that's something that's iconic, but you even heard Michael Jordan say his feet was bleeding crazy and he couldn't wait to take the sneakers off. It's a flat sneaker. The technology isn't where it is today. And for someone to play the way Michael Jordan played, you know, high flying, stopping, cutting, explosiveness, that sneaker did not do him any justice.
And I'm going to say I'll give it a swish for those very reasons, Al, because of the fact that he did it in that shoe. And I'll give Danielle a swish for actually having a pair and bringing props into the segment.
Sure, both of you are also binging anything and everything, because you both have kids, so you might be watching weird stuff, say Netflix Absurd Planet. It's kind of like a take on Planet Earth, a little bit more edgy perhaps. And they had a reference that I had to stop and rewind.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dung Beetle. There's a story about a buggy now. They live on farms and grasslands, oh. You see these creatures everywhere you go. Oh, 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 oh. They don't care what kind of food they eat. This one's crazier than Fred Van Vliet.
That's an absolute brick, and I would hope that Fred Van Vliet thinks so as well. I mean, as much as it might be funny, it's not quite the same as getting shouted out by Drake or Jay-Z or something. You're getting shouted out on Absurd Planet and being compared, or at least used in a line with a dung beetle. Absolute brick. I mean, Al, you rapped against Kobe Bryant. You know, you coming from the streets of Philly, man. Come on, that is a brick. It has to be a brick.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be a brick, but you don't know how great it feels to hear your name in a song. I've never heard it. I mean, you gotta feel proud some kind of way, I'm figuring.
Yeah, that's how I take it, Alvin. Like, at least his name got shouted. But if there's anything to look at, I researched the dung beetle. They can roll 10 times their weight. Fred's got that dad strength, so maybe it's not that bad. I'll give it a swish, because you want to just hear your name in anyway, right? Last one for you guys is Miami Heat's Myers Leonard, who has been raising money for COVID-19 in a really cool way. He had a Twitch stream for 24 hours playing Call of Duty, had fans and others online with him, raised nearly $200,000 in the making. But in order to reach that amount, he had set all these challenges and he had to dye his hair. So ignoring the charity aspect again for this one, is it a swish or a brick? The new Miami Vice do, half pink, half blue.
I'm going to give it a swish, only in a sense because I got hair envy. I only wish I could grow that full head of hair. And even though you said take the charity angle out, it's hard to ignore the fact that all the money that was raised, I tell you, I think it actually looks half decent. I wouldn't want to wear it for more than a couple of days or a week, but he's rocking it all right. So I'm going to give it a swish for Myers Leonard.
I'm gonna go to swish also. I saw the picture, the photo. I like it. I like the idea. I even like the look. Even coming from a black man in Philadelphia that don't have any hair, and we can't get down with that look, but I like it. I'm gonna give it a swish as well.
It's a big swish for me too. I actually really dig it. He kind of has those Randy Savage vibes when he puts on the glasses too. Like, I'm into it. And him and his wife, Elle, are a great follow on Instagram, on social media throughout this self-isolation period. So give them a follow. Thank you, fellas.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks.
We're certainly interactive here at Basketball Central. Last time out, we asked for your contributions in terms of trick shots. Create them wherever you wanted to, and here were the ones that made the cut.
What's your name? What's your name?
Isla.
And this is Basketball Trick Shots. Bam.
Buckets edition.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Highlight reel.
It's an unfortunate reality for this generation of sports fans. We have become accustomed to work stoppages across the big four in sports. But this time it's nothing to do with a labor dispute. It's all about the health and well-being going forward of not only the athletes, but the general public. So we want to know this time on the inbox, what do you think? Should the NBA try to finish its season? We appreciate your input and we appreciate you joining us on Basketball Central. For all of us involved, I'm Brad Fay. Thanks for joining us.
That's it. Left hand, oh, I missed it.